Happy Saturday, everyone. Ben Bryant with Inside Out Solutions. A bit later than the normal time I do this, but the weather's been so nice. My wife Mariah and I went on a walk earlier. I was out on our deck just sitting, enjoying the sun for a bit. It's too nice of a day to spend inside or do anything else, really. So, hope you're able to enjoy the little bit of spring we're getting. I think it's like 55, 60 right now, and next week I think Wednesday is supposed to be like 80, which is amazing. But you didn't come here for me to talk about the weather. I'm here for an unboxed video, not an unboxing, because what's in here actually isn't in here. It's right back here, because I've already unboxed it. So these are the Crescent trim shears. I picked these up a week and a half ago for a little trim project I was doing. I don't like saws. I know you need them for so much. I think I have probably 7 or 8 different saws, because you need a different saw for every little different thing you do. Actually, now I think I'm probably at 9 or 10. Every single thing you ever do with wood or metal or PVC is any different angle you need a different saw for. And you really start to understand that once you start working with wood. But if I don't have to, I don't like using loud tools. I like quieter stuff. Well, typically I haven't really done any large trim projects. It's usually repair a piece here, repair a piece there, and so it's just one cut with a saw, I can make that work. But I had it was like a family room. It was part of a kitchen, entryway, things like that, and so I needed something a bit more. And it was cold just a week and a half ago, so I was like, I don't want to set up in the garage and be carrying stuff in and out. It had painters come through, and I didn't want to worry about getting long stretches of trim in through the doorway and scratching stuff up. So one of the handyman groups I'm a part of, they recommended this trim tool. And so I can't open it up for you. So I already did that and used it, but I just wanted to kind of show it off to you. So this is, like I said, the Crescent trim shears. Has a little clasp here, so it's not going to be open like this in your storage. But nice little blade. And so this is where the beauty of this tool comes in. I mean, the blade's nice, has really good clamping power, but if you look here, it has all these angles listed out. What makes it great for this is you have a piece of trim that you're going to cut. All you do is you stick it right on the line for the angle that you want, and you just snip. How much easier is it than that? You don't have to have any degree. You don't have to have been good at math. Honestly, I had a lot of trouble with math in college, and so trying to figure out angles isn't my strong suit. And so just being able to clip, oh my goodness, so nice and easy. Well, so the project I was working on the other day, they had MDF trim. I was just doing the quarter round, actually. So that's what this is right here. So this is going to be going, you have your regular trim, and then typically your flooring butts up against the trim. And there's usually a little bit of a gap in between that trim and the flooring. And so this sits on top, right up against the trim, against your wall, and up against trimmer baseboards, against your wall, and then sits on top, that little gap on top of the floor, so it gives it that seamless look. So that's what this quarter round is. You might see shoe molding, some different terms for very similar things. But just wanted to give you an example of how this actually looks. And so I just have a couple small pieces of trim. And again, this is MDF, so it's the manufactured wood stuff. And so it is softer than wood. And so I'm just gonna stick it in here. And this is at a 45-degree angle. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of pressure. Pops just like that. And look at that cut. there's a little bit of a catch to it. That's the thing with this MDF, it has a bit of a papery surface, so I caught a little bit of that edge, so I'm just going to give another little snip to see if it gives it any bit of a cleaner cut. There we go. So that cut was just fine. Really nice and clean. So that's a 45-degree angle. I'm going to give this one a 105-degree angle. So it's right on that line for the 105. And that's a 105-degree angle. I don't need to do any special measuring or calculations. It's just, that's what it says. And yeah, super, super easy. Limitations on this tool. So the MDF is softer than wood. I'd say you probably have MDF, you'd have probably pine after that, and there's other hardwoods. So from what others have told me with using this tool, and just from what I know with working with some of these other woods, working with MDF, I mean, you can cut this all day long, and it's going to cut just fine. Pine, what I have seen with that from working on my own, not with this tool, but with my other saws and what I've seen with talking with others, there shouldn't be any problems working with pine, which is a softwood, but this probably would not be a good tool for harder woods. Harder woods aren't going to give. Let me see if I can, a longer piece here. So here, I'm pressing into it, and almost like if you were to press your fingernail into an apple, it kind of pushes in a little bit and gives before your fingernail cuts into the skin. It's kind of similar with that. Let me see if I can show you that a little bit better. I really don't think it's going to show here, but the MDF gives just a little bit, and just like with pine wood as well, it's just going to give that little bit and cut better. Whereas with a hard wood, it's going to be a little bit more brittle, and so just that cutting motion here is going to end up cracking or splitting or just catching an edge different and giving you more jagged edges than you're wanting. So this isn't a use-all tool. This is one of those things that's really good. I would say it would be really good to have in your tool chest for when you're working with an MDF, working with a softer pine or something like that. And if you're DIYing projects around the house, I would say this would be amazing. If you have kids running around, you don't have to worry about bringing a saw into the house and making a mess, or worrying about saws around kids. You don't have to worry about taking the trim out into the garage or outside, whether it's bad weather or not. You just save all that time, the trip. But you can just sit in the corner. You got your piece of trim. Okay, well, if it's a square corner, it's like, you don't even have to think about it. You don't have to do any measuring. It's just like 45-degree cut. Okay, let me get 45-degree cut on the other piece. And I mean, just like that, put it in the corner, nail it in, you're good to go and done. So definitely a tool I'd recommend to have on hand to use. This was, I think I picked it up for, I think it was $30 at Home Depot, and no saw noises, a lot less danger than a spinning blade. Again, just a snip, and close it up with a little pin when you're not using it. You can also get replacement blades for this. So if you're a heavy hitter weekend warrior, you can get new blades for this if you don't want to sharpen them yourselves and keep on going on all those projects. I did try cutting a few other things with it, and it wasn't so good at it. I feel like that's just what you do as a tradesman. You just like, oh, my hammer, you know, it works for all sorts of stuff that besides hammering. So I definitely wouldn't recommend trying to cut other stuff than quarter round or shoe molding or other small things like that. But definitely say for these uses, something I'd really definitely recommend getting and trying out for yourself. But do you have any experiences with cutting trim? Any tools that you'd especially recommend? Because I'm learning every day, and there's specialty tools I use that you might not have on hand, and so you may have found another solution to it that works well and might be good for another DIYer out there to know about. So if you do, drop it in the comments, and I appreciate y'all watching with me today.